Hey everybody, we are Everything MMA. This is the Thursday before the weigh-ins for the big UFC 282 card, and since it is Thursday, there was NFL tonight. We just witnessed the Raiders blow another lead to the Baker Mayfield-led Rams, and yeah, Baker Mayfield's back according to Twitter. Not according to me. I don't think he's back. I think he started the game like 3 for 13, but he got the win. That's all that matters. Tom Brady taught us that on Monday against the Saints. Absolutely sucked for the whole game, and then the last drive, you can throw a touchdown and be the hero. Anyways, besides the point, this is an MMA channel, so let's stick with that. My name's Jackson Cole. Since this is our first video, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm a huge MMA fan, been an MMA fan for the past year and a half. Like a lot of other fans, a lot of casual fans, Conor McGregor got me into the sport, got us both into the sport. And yeah, I'm a ride or die by that dude. And that knockout of Chad Mendes has kept me hooked ever since. So this is my co-host, Will Tokar. I'll let him take it away.
Yeah, I'm Will Tokar. I've been following UFC for about a little less than a year. Or it might have been like just over a year actually now. UFC 268 really got me hooked. Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. Just an incredible fight.
Great
Incredible.
fight.
Yeah, just what a performance.
Yeah.
And that really just got me hooked. So yeah, we're gonna give you guys our UFC 282 picks, and yeah, let's get into it.
Exactly. We're going to do some breakdown. So just to keep the video a little bit shorter, it would be over an hour if we did every single fight. So we're going to do some, not exactly a breakdown, but some quick picks of the early prelims. So first matchup, I got Cameron here against Steven Kozlov, both guys making their debut. Let me do a little analysis here. Cameron had a great knockout on Dana White's Contender Series. Dana said, this guy's the real deal. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go with Dana. I'm going to say Cameron is going to win here against Steven Kozlov. But I could see Kozlov pulling off a sub. He is a submission threat. But yeah, I got Cameron there. And then second matchup, I got Salvador in a really meaningless 125 matchup. Don't see either of these guys as contenders in the future, but you never know. They could prove me wrong. Another fight that I don't think really matters in the landscape of 145. That division's stacked already. I don't think TJ Brown's making his way to the top with a 16-9 record, but nonetheless, I think his record will be 17-9 after Saturday. I think he beats Eric Silva, kind of wears him down in that fight. And then an actually really good fight. This would be on the main card of a fight night, I would say for sure, is Alexander the Great Hernandez versus Billy Q. Billy Q extremely tough. I'm going to take Alexander as the underdog there. He does have a knockout win over Beneil Dariush, but interesting, we did talk about this before we started recording here, is this is his first cut in a while. Might be since his amateur days for Alexander Hernandez. This is his first cut to featherweight. And he was already a pretty big in terms of stature. Not stature, excuse me, but like girth, kind of. I guess that's the word in terms of girth. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could call it that. So it's a little weird, but in terms of
Yeah.
girth, I think 155 suited him better. But I'm gonna say if the fight ends early, it's Alexander Hernandez, and if it goes late, it's Billy Q. But I'm gonna take Alexander Hernandez. This is obviously, as I said, before the weigh-in, so that pick could change depending on if he misses weight. I'd say he does miss weight, so that pick could change. So don't hold me to that pick, but that's what I got. What are you thinking in these early prelims, Will?
Yeah, I expect Alexander Hernandez to be last to the scale. I think that cut's going to take a lot out of him.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah,
Cool. So let's get right into it, man. We got a great matchup to open up the prelims. We got this is a pretty big matchup in terms of the landscape of the division in middleweight here. 185, two guys, both these guys, Chris the Action Man Curtis and Joaquin Buckley, both these guys have top 15 potential. You see Chris Curtis, and according to Tapology, shout out to Tapology, by the way, this is the site we are going to be using for our prediction videos. Tapology has him at the number 16 middleweight worldwide, so he's right outside the top 15. I think the winner of this fight gets into the top 15, or at least fights a top 15 opponent next. Tell me a little bit about this matchup. Who do you like? What do you see on the betting side here, Will? Just give me some info.
yeah, both of these guys coming off of a loss via decision. Chris Curtis coming off of a loss against Jack Hermanson.
Yep.
And I don't know. I feel like Joaquin Buckley gets it done. I think he's going to be too much for Action Man, and I think he's going to knock him out in the second round.
Second round. Okay, I like that. I would have to agree. I think we're opening up with pretty similar predictions here. the judges, man, they love that damage. They love the explosive movements, and I think Buckley is he's known for that, man. He loves throwing those big wild overhands. Takes a lot out of his gas tank, which it's not the smartest fight style, I think, but the judges like it. They like damage. I can see him stealing rounds, similar to how Cheeto Vera fights, kind of losing the round a little bit, getting pot shotted, and then boom, one big shot changes the landscape of the round. Knockdown, steals the round. He did that against Dom Cruz. He did that against Rob Font, and I can kind of see Buckley doing that against Curtis. I think one shot's going to change a few of these rounds if he doesn't get an early finish. But this is kind of similar to the Alexander Hernandez fight, even though Buckley, in his last loss to Imavov, who's a great fighter too, he did win that third round, and he kind of proved the haters wrong in terms of that his gas tank it's decent. But I think this is kind of similar to the Hernandez fight. The longer it goes, it favors Curtis. The shorter it goes, it favors Buckley. But Curtis is going to be the slicker boxer. He trains out there with Sean Strickland. So, I like Curtis. He's 4 wins out of his last 5. Like you said, that loss to Hermanson being the only loss in his last 5. He was getting frustrated in that fight, and he's been getting frustrated on Twitter. I've been looking into that a little bit. Not that it means anything or anything, but he has been blocking a lot of fans on Twitter I've been seeing. So who knows where his head's at. I'm going to agree. Buckley by second round KO. I like that prediction. Well, you're right on the money there. Next fight is Shabazian versus Dalcha. Another back-to-back middleweight matchups here, Tokar. So tell me about this one.
Yeah, a lot of middleweight fights on this card.
I think there's three or four.
Yeah, and so on this fight, Edmund versus Dalsha. I think obviously Shabazian is coming in heavy favorite here.
Yep.
Both of these guys haven't been on the hottest of skits.
3-fight losing streak for both.
Yep. 3-fight losing streak for both. Shabazian hasn't won a fight since 2019, and Dalcha hasn't won one since 2021. So the beginning of 2021. So yeah, I mean, loser of this fight, in my opinion, gets cut.
I agree.
Winner of this fight could even get cut. You never know.
Yeah, and, I don't see Dalcha sticking around much longer in the UFC. It's interesting about about Edmund Shabazian, who lost to Jack Hermanson. Edmund Shabazian was a huge prospect coming in. He was 11-0, training with Ronda Rousey out in Glendale. And I remember he was all the hype. They gave him a main event slot against Derek Brunson. And Derek Brunson, as he does, he did that with Kevin Holland. He puts the hype train to bed. So he put that hype train to bed pretty quick.
Yeah, he did.
And then you get another loss against Hermanson here, and then another loss against Imavov. And that was a brutal one right there. Shabazian got dominated in that Imavov fight. That's really discouraging. I don't feel comfortable laying chalk on a minus 300 favorite when he's lost 3 times in a row. Neither of these guys know what it feels like to get their hand raised in the octagon. They don't remember what it feels like. Okay, I know what it feels like more than them at this point. This is crazy. We have the same amount of wins in the last year. Both of us do with both of these guys. But that being said, I think Shabazian gets the job done. He just changed camps, new management. He's with Ali Abdelaziz, who we both absolutely despise. But yeah, he's under new management. Just switched from Glendale to Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. So he's out there in Las Vegas. He's training with other UFC fighters. He's not with Ronda Rousey and, WWE fucking nation over there. He's with real fighters now at Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. He's around the UFC PI. He can get care. He's got a nutritionist now. So I like Edmund Shabazian here. I think he gets a finish. I think it's kind of a prove-it fight for him. I think he is going to rally for the finish, whereas in other fights I could see him kind of just, coasting along to a decision victory. I've seen a lot of fighters do that. But, this is a pay-per-view, man. He needs to get his name back in the limelight. At one time, guys were talking about this guy fighting Adesanya, fighting the main guys in the division. I mean, he fought Derek Brunson in a main event at 11-0. They may have pushed him a little bit fast. But you know what? I like Edmund Shabazian here. I'm not going to bet on this fight. If anything, it's going to go in a parlay, but that's going to be a long shot parlay. One of those, $1 FanDuel parlays where you bet every single fight and see if you can hit all 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to go Shabazian by
Yeah, I have
finish.
Shabazian via decision.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Dalsha.
There's
There's a
levels to this. I think Dalsha
yeah,
is not on his level.
yeah, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll see for sure. Anything can happen in the octagon. But moving on, we have a heavyweight matchup. Big, not a big matchup here, but it's going to be exciting. Everybody loves
Mhm.
heavyweight fights. This one could end quick. We got Jairzinho Biggie Boy versus Chris Dawkins. Tokar, give me some insight on this fight. Who you betting? Who you like? Let me know.
I like Chris Dawkins in this fight. I think he's going to be too much for Biggie Boy in the first round. I think he gets it done. Obviously, a little lighter for the heavyweight division. A lot of people say he can make light heavyweight.
I agree. I would agree with that.
Mhm. Both of these guys coming off of a 2-fight losing streak. Yeah, I think Dawkins is just gonna get it done. He's more technical, and I believe he knocks him out.
More technical. So give me some reasoning there because Dawkins is coming off two main events where he just got knocked out. Derek Lewis knocked him out brutally, and then so did Curtis Blades. So what do you like? You like the hand speed there? You like the technicality of Dawkins? How do you think he gets this done? What do you think there?
Yeah, I think Dawkins is one of the faster guys in the heavyweight division.
I would agree with
Um,
that.
and yeah, obviously being lighter, he's going to be faster. But I would also like to see him at the light heavyweight division. I think he can definitely make that weight.
I agree. I think he can make the weight. I think Dawkins is a poor man's Tom Aspinall. I think he's a great value Aspinall there. I don't like him very much. I don't like him or his brother. His brother sucks. He just lost to Eric Anders in a spot where he was favored for some reason. I don't know who's making the odds there to make Dawkins the favorite against Eric Anders. I don't know who makes the odds, but I took advantage of it. I bet Anders. I will say I'll give myself a pat on the back there. I saw right through the Darce Knight. That's the weirdest nickname in MMA, Kyle Dawkins. But anyways, I like Biggie Boy here. I think it's a toss up. I don't see value in the minus 170 on Biggie Boy. I think Dawkins could easily come out and knock him out. I think Dawkins has hand speed, like you said. He's got the speed of a light heavyweight. Um, Rosenstrike coming off a questionable stoppage against Volkov. I think that was an early stoppage, to be honest, in that main event. Especially for a main event, you got to let that fight play out. Curtis Blades, he got dominated there. Very boring fight. Sakai, good win. Cyril Gahn got absolutely dominated. But you can expect that. And then he got folded by Ngannou and beat an aging Junior Dos Santos. This isn't a big matchup in terms of the heavyweight division. I don't see either of these guys entering the top 5 anytime soon. But this is to stay in the rankings, I guess, to stay in the top 15. And if I gotta pick a fighter here, since this is a prediction video, I'm gonna go with Biggie Boy. But don't bet on this fight, guys. Come on, this is not a fight you want to be betting on. But yeah, on to our next fight at 135. One of our favorite guys, Raul Rosas Jr., a local guy to us. So, Tokar, tell me a little bit about this. I know we have the same pick here. As you guys can probably tell, we're a little bit biased, but give me the pick here.
Yeah, I think Rosas coming to this fight 6-0 off an electrifying win on the Dana White Contender
Yeah,
Series.
great performance.
Youngest guy to ever be signed to the UFC. I believe he's going to get it done versus Perrin, and I believe it's going to be in a dominant fashion, and he's going to win via decision.
You like decision there. That's interesting.
Mhm.
I think he's going to push for the finish. It's his first fight in the UFC. I don't think he's the kind of guy who just kind of sits on a lead here, as a lot of guys in the lighter divisions do. Some of them kind of coast. We see that with Askar Askarov a lot. He kind of just coasts to a decision, and I think that's why he lost that Kai Kara France fight. Is he kind of just coasted, and France kind of took advantage of that. But I agree. I see Rosas here pushing the pace on Perrin. Perrin is not a good fighter, guys. Don't let him fool you with this pre-fight trash talk. He's not good. He's 10-6. Record doesn't mean everything. Obviously, we see that with BJ Penn and Mark Hunt. Obviously, guys that are way better than their record. But this guy Jay Perrin is not better than his record. Come on. Mario Bautista is a decent fighter, but you're losing to him, and then your 2 dubs are in Cage Titans and CES. Jay Perrin is 0-2 in the UFC. Got beat by unanimous decision by Arichi Long and Mario Bautista. So I'm not seeing a whole lot from Jay Perrin. He's still young, but this matchup is a layup it's an alley-oop for Raul Rosas Jr., man. This is a favorable matchup. It's kind of like what we saw with Sean O'Malley and the dude with the mustache. I don't remember what his name was, but he got absolutely sparked. I'll think of his name later in the video, but I kind of see it as one of those matchups, man. I kind of see it as that. We also see that kind of thing later in the card with Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon. I think that's a slam dunk matchup too. But I see Raul Rosas. If he doesn't finish him, he tries to finish him and he pushes the pace. I think he gets at least one 10-8 round in a unanimous decision if it does go to the cards. But I can see. I'm going to say officially, I'm going to say it's a submission win for Raul Rosas Jr. and he will become the youngest UFC fighter to win. That's what I see. And, this fight isn't going to get him in the rankings or anything, but he pulls off a dominant performance and, start talking about a ranked name. 135 is not a division where it's really hard to push up the rankings. It's a stacked division, don't get me wrong, at the top, but, he can break into that top 15 with a couple fights. Next matchup is the start of the main card. This is a huge matchup at 145. This is between who I think are going to be two guys that challenge for the belt at points in their career at featherweight. It is Bryce Mitchell versus Ilia Topuria. So Tokar, tell me about this matchup, man. This is two undefeated guys. I know sometimes it says Bryce Mitchell's 15-1 because of the tough loss, but the Ultimate Fighter loss, but he's 15-0, man. These guys are both riding huge win streaks. So let me know, what do you think about this fight? Is there any betting value? What do you think?
Yeah, so obviously Bryce Mitchell coming off of a win against Edson Barbosa, a dominating one at that.
Big win.
And I believe obviously he's a great fighter, but I do think that Topuria is going to be too much for him, and I think Topuria gets it done via decision.
So do you think he stops the wrestling of Bryce Mitchell? That's his path to victory, you would think, right?
Yeah, and I think he outstrikes him, and I think that Topuria is just a really well-rounded fighter, and coming off of a lightweight victory over Herbert.
Yep. In London.
Yeah, and we got to see his chin in that fight.
Yes,
we got to see his chin, and I just believe he gets it done via decision.
I agree. I agree with that. I can't see Bryce Mitchell getting finished. Dude's a tough SOB. But I agree. I think we're in line with that pick. I think Topuria, like you said, is a very, very complete fighter. I haven't seen a lot of fighters as complete as him. He comes into the UFC as a jiu-jitsu ace, and then all of a sudden he knocks out three guys in the UFC in a row, and it's like, this guy's got stone hands too. He's got a chin, like you said. He got dominated in that first round by a way bigger dude at 155. Who knows why he was fighting at lightweight? He's a 145er, but man, he ate a huge, huge shot from Jay Herbert at 155. The dude probably had 15 or 20 pounds on him. Ate a huge shot. We saw his chin, and then had one of the cleanest knockouts. I think it was the cleanest knockout of the year. At least one of them, man. The way he folded Herbert up was crazy, man. That power, especially for being a lower weight class guy, it was crazy. But I think Topuria has more paths to victory than Bryce Mitchell. I think he's got, with the hands, he's a threat on the ground, and like I said, Topuria is a little bit more of a complete fighter. Both are pretty complete. I'd say Bryce Mitchell, we got to see his hands in the Barbosa fight. I was shocked that he could strike with Barbosa, but he could. But Topuria's got a little bit of a power difference, a little bit of a striking distance. I think Mitchell has a little bit of the wrestling edge, but not enough to where it's like he's taking him down at will and dominating him. So I don't know. I think it's a close 28-27. We could see a split here. I don't think it's a unanimous. I'd say it's a split decision for Topuria. Some people are going to say, oh, it's a robbery. But no, I see a close matchup here. I don't think there's a domination either way. But I like Topuria here for sure.
Agreed. You have two tough guys.
Two tough guys. Yeah, I don't see a finish on either side. If there is going to be a finish, I see a knockout by Topuria on the feet. That's the only finish I see. Bryce Mitchell isn't really a finish-you wrestler. He has crazy submissions, twister, but in terms of this fight, if he is going to wrestle, I think it's more of a grinding Habib style, ground and pound, that kind of thing. I think Topuria gets it done, though.
And you never know, this could be a fight of the night contender.
This could, yeah. I think this is a sneaky fight of the night contender. There's just so much skill in this matchup. This is a matchup where the less informed fan, the casual fan, is going to say, I don't need to tune into that. But the hardcore MMA fans are going to say, this is a matchup, man. This could be a fight of the night headliner, as a few of these other main card fights could be. But, man, this fight is tons of skill. This fight reminds me almost of the Saryukian and Gamrot fight, that headline, that fight night, that's how much
Mhm.
skill is on the line between these two guys. It really reminds me of that, honestly. I think Bryce Mitchell's kind of a Gamrot guy, a wrestler, grind you out wrestler, and I think Topuria is that complete Saryukian guy type. Now that I think of that, that really reminds me of this fight.
Agreed.
So yeah, I like Topuria there. We both like him by decision. Next fight, this is going to be a fan favorite fight here. We have Darren Till versus Dricus Still Knox Du Plessis. What do you think about this fight, Tokar? I know you like Darren Till. Is there any value here on the underdog? What do you think, betting wise and just prediction?
So I do believe Till is going to be the better man this night. He hasn't had a win since 2019,
Yeah.
and I think we're going to have a little hint of what Till we had before his losing streak. And yeah, obviously Till's fought some very tough guys.
Yep.
Some of the greats.
Some of the best guys in the division.
And obviously Duplessis is he has a five. Is it five streak? 5 win streak?
I think it's bigger than that. I think it's. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure what his win streak is, but yeah, he's been on a big win streak. He's got a win over RoboCop, one of the best fighters
Oh,
outside the UFC. He's got a win and a loss to him. That's a good win. I think that's his best win outside of the.
mhm,
It's his best win in general, by far. Roberto Soldic. I think that's how you pronounce his name. That dude's an absolute beast. But yeah, that's his best win by far. But yeah, continue. You got Darren Till here. You think there's some value on the underdog here?
And like we were talking about before we filmed, we were talking about how Duplessis he has like a weird striking. He kind of strikes like Juliana Pena, and I think he's going to leave his chin up, and Till's going to find it.
No, I 100% agree here. We're in agreement on that pick. I was watching some film on Duplessis, and I was watching that Brad Tavares fight back. And you're right, he hangs his chin in the air when he strikes, and he got clipped by Tavares. He lost that first round for sure. Because I remember I bet on Dricus, and I was like, man, this I don't know about this parlay, man. Dricus might, I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous, but he did come through and win that fight. He showed some toughness. He's got a chin. The dude's tough, man. He's extremely tough and he's cool. I like Dricus. Um, but yeah, he's a great striker in terms of hand speed. But he likes that. He's got that little blitz style. He comes in quick, and you can't do that against Darren Till, man. You kind of have to take a more measured approach, similar to what Robert Whitaker did. Um, yeah, I can't see a way. I don't know. I see Darren Till clipping him. I see him clipping him, dropping him bad. If it's a decision, Till could sway the rounds with some big shots, but I see a knockout, man. I see a first or second round KO. I think this is vintage Till. I think Till needs a finish here. I don't think a decision is enough to get his name back in title contention. I think a finish is needed here. A lot of people on Twitter in the MMA sphere in general are saying Darren Till gets cut with a loss. No, he doesn't. He doesn't get cut with a loss. His relevance is done with a loss. His title chances are done with a loss. But I also heard I don't know if you watched that interview with Bisping earlier in the week. Darren Till said he's still leaving the door open at welterweight. He says he can cut more weight. He's potentially going down to 170 after this fight. So the door's still open there. I think that cut was brutal early in his career. And so who knows how it's going to look now? He's even older. But I see Till getting it done here. This is my underdog play of the week. I see a Till knockout, Till finish. Yeah, I like Darren Till here at the plus 160 underdog. I think that's extreme value. They're
Mhm.
100 to win 160. I love that value, man. I might do a little parlay with a few guys that I like, a smaller parlay. Obviously, I don't love laying huge chalk on on an underdog like that, but I like Darren Till here. I think you feel the same.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's going to be an early knockout, first or second round, and I think he does it with style. And obviously, Darren Till hasn't had a win since 2019. He's still young. He's still 29.
He could still do
Uh,
this, man. He could come back and be in the title picture.
yeah, 100%. And yeah, I think he gets it done with style, and we get to see what Till we got to see before his losing streak.
I agree, man. I hope so. I would like to see I would like to see Darren Till win this fight, and then in terms of mapping out his road to the title, I would say Darren Till wins this fight, and I think I would like to see him fight the winner of Strickland and Cannonier. I would like to see him fight the winner of that. Maybe the loser too. I wouldn't mind the loser. Till's coming off of one out of his last 5 fights being a win. It could be 0-5 too. A lot of people thought this fight right here, Gastelum, was Gastelum's fight, but a lot of people also thought that Whitaker won this fight too. So it could be 2 wins out of his last 5. But I'd like to see Till fight one of those 2 guys. Strickland. He's got a little bit of history with Strickland too. I'd like to see him fight either Strickland, Cannonier, or Vittori. I'd like to see one of those 3 guys if he picks up the win here. That would be ideal.
Agreed.
Moving on to the next fight of the main card. This is a catchweight fight at 180. It was originally supposed to happen at 170. This fight was originally supposed to be Ponzinibbio versus Robbie Lawler, but Robbie Lawler pulled out. Yeah, tell me a little bit about this matchup, Toke. Not the greatest matchup, not what we were looking for. Obviously, the fans want to see Robbie Lawler, but, it is what it is. Tell me a little bit about this matchup. Who do you like?
Yeah, obviously, Robbie Lawler pulling out. I think Ponzinibbio, he gets it done. Alex Morono isn't, I don't know, taking this fight on short notice. I don't think it's going to do him good. And I think Ponzinibbio is going to come out and he's going to dominate him. And I think it's going to be a second round KO.
I like that. I think there's value on Ponzinibbio here at -180. I think he's extremely underrated. I believe he had a fight. His last fight was against Jeff Neal, if I'm not mistaken. No, Michel Pereira and then Jeff Neal. Both of these were split decision losses, man. These are 2 tough guys. Michel Pereira is one of the most creative guys in the division, man. I mean, come on. He could have won both of these fights. I think he lost both of them, to be honest with you. I watched both. And then he fought the Leech, got knocked out by the Leech. But before that, man, he upset Miguel Baeza, Caramel Thunder, and he also beat Neil Magny, man. That's a quality win. Morono coming off 4 wins in a row. Semmelsberger, not a big win. Mickey Gall. What's Mickey Gall known for, man? He beat CM Punk. That's what he's known for. Come on. David Zawada and Donald Cerrone, man, those are 4 subpar wins. This is a step up in competition for Morono, and I just see it ending in brutal fashion for Ponzinibbio. I will be on the Ponzinibbio side this week. I think that's the side to be on. I was going to lay some chalk on him in some parlays against Lawler. I thought that was a slam dunk. He was going to smash Lawler. But yeah, people think Ponzinibbio's washed for some reason. He is 36, but I see him going out and beating Morono.
Agreed.
Moving on to the next fight, it is the co-main event, Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon at 155. Give me your thoughts on this one, Will.
Just another alley-oop for Paddy Pimblett.
Yep.
Dana setting him up perfectly. The Sean O'Malley treatment, you could say. I don't know.
What can you say about this fight? I mean, not much to say.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Paddy the Baddy gets it done. I think it's going to be a first-round submission. And you could argue that Jared Gordon is a step down from Jordan Levitt, his Paddy's last fight.
You could.
So, yeah, I just think Paddy gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jared Gordon's not a can. He's not a horrible fighter. I mean, his only loss in his last 5 is against Grant Dawson, who's a decent fighter. He's not bad, but this is, like you said, this is a slam dunk matchup for Paddy Pimblett. You got to keep this hype train going. I also see a finish by Paddy Pimblett. I could see a decision too. Maybe we see a little bit of something that we haven't seen from Paddy. I don't know. Maybe he throws some power shots. I'm gonna go bold. I like Paddy by KO. Ride him out TKO. I'm gonna say Paddy by finish. I'm not opposed to the submission either. But yeah, Jared Gordon's not a bad fighter, but Dana wants, who the UFC wants to win here. I mean, it's obvious. Let's move on. I'm sure a majority of, 87% of people agree that Pimblett's going to beat Gordon. That's a slam dunk. If you want to be different, go ahead, drop a comment. Jared Gordon's going to win, but we know this is a slam dunk. All right, and going to the main event, not the matchup everybody wanted. The original matchup was supposed to be Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka 2. Everybody wanted to see that fight, potential fight of the year contender there. But instead, we get another pretty banging light heavyweight matchup for the vacant strap. Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev. This is two of the best guys in the world. Give me some insight on this one. Who do you like?
Yep, two of the best guys at light heavyweight. And you got to give props to Jiri here for giving up his
Giving up his
vacating his
strap.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, obviously not the fight we want.
It's a fight we're gonna get though.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a great fight, and
Agreed.
I think Magomed Ankalaev is going to be too much for Jan Blachowicz.
He should be 19-0. He's 1 second away from being 19-0.
Exactly.
Yep.
His one loss in the UFC came in the last second of the last round.
Yep, that Paul Craig submission.
Yeah, Paul Craig in London, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do believe Magomed Ankalaev, he's going to wrestle him, and I think Magomed gets it done via decision.
I 100% agree. A lot of people are on the finish side of Ankalaev, but I think we saw with the Thiago Santos fight with Ankalaev, I don't think he's a real finisher. I mean, he finished Kutelaba, great finish, but Anthony Smith, that's not a real KO TKO, man. Anthony Smith broke his leg. I mean, Thiago Santos decision, Volkan Oezdemir decision, Nikita Krylov decision. This guy's kind of a decision fighter, but that being said, I think he's the best light heavyweight in the world. He's the most complete light heavyweight. This dude's got Dagestani wrestling. He's got hands, man. He's got both stances. This dude is a real guy. And I think Blachowicz is going to be live for the knockout because he's got that power, man. It's similar to that. This is kind of similar to that Tuivasa and Cyril Gane fight. It's live for the power, but other than that, man, Ankalaev is the way more complete fighter. And I like Jan Blachowicz, man. He's a great fighter. This is an illegitimate win over Alexander Rakic, and I was on the Blachowicz side of this, so I was thankful that Rakic freaking hurt his leg, but Rakic was going to win that fight, man. Alexander Rakic was going to beat Jan Blachowicz. Glover Teixeira dominated him. Adesanya was too small for this weight class. Dominic Reyes, great win. Corey Anderson, great win. Corey Anderson, dude's in Bellator now, let's be honest. I mean, is that a great win? It's a decent win. And then we got some good wins over here. Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith. But I think this is more of his resume isn't as built up. It's similar to the Islam Makhachev. No one wants to fight this guy. That's why his resume isn't as strong. But yeah, I got Ankalaev for sure. I like Ankalaev by decision. I think he dominates him. I think it's a 49-46. Spot Blachowicz around, maybe for a knockdown, flash knockdown.
Yeah. One of the most technical, I would say the most technical light heavyweight in the world.
I agree. I think he's the best in the world. Not much else to say about that, man. I think you got a few parlay spots. I think Blachowicz, Pimblett. If you're looking for a sure parlay, I would say Ankalaev. Sorry, I didn't mean to say Blachowicz earlier. Ankalaev, Pimblett, and Rosas is a good three-teamer. If you're looking for a lock with some bigger odds, I like that. If you're looking for kind of a more underdog-based parlay, I would say maybe a two-teamer with Hernandez and Till. Those are our two underdogs of the week. I would say maybe throw Ponzinibbio in there at -180. That's great value. Topuria is great value at -140. There's a few spots you can play, man. This is a tricky card in terms of betting. But in terms of prediction, I see these pretty clear. I like our picks. We're in agreement with most of them. Maybe all of them. We might have been in agreement with all of them. That's not how it will be every week, but that's just how this shakes out. There's a few clear matchups to us. But yeah, this will be our first video. We hope you enjoyed. We're going to come back. We may do Bellator for tomorrow. There's a few decent matchups. We might do a main card prediction for that. Look out for that one. And then this is our last pay-per-view of the year. So we're going to keep, as long as the UFC keeps pumping out great events, we will be doing fight night predictions, pay-per-view predictions. We'll be doing Bellator. If you guys want us to do one championship videos, man, we'll do all of that stuff. We're going to be doing following the career of certain guys, mapping out the career, similar to what we did to Darren Till earlier in the video with that proposed matchup with Strickland and Cannonier. We're going to do some of that. But yeah, let us know what else you want to see in terms of MMA. Yeah, we're going to be pumping out a lot of content. We love this sport. And yeah, Togar, anything you want to say?
Nope, hope you guys enjoyed.
For sure. Have a good one, guys.